Welcome to a special edition of the Referrals podcast. Introducing our new Daily Dose. We've assembled the ultimate crisis response team for your business. Generous leaders from around the globe teaming up to teach, guide, and lead you through this time of isolation and quarantine. Now let's meet your host, Michael J. Maher.
Hey everybody, it's Michael J. Maher with another episode of the Daily Dose of Positivity and Productivity, brought to you by referralspodcast.com and the Generosity Generation. I have to tell you, I am so excited about this show. I will tell you that we started the week with Nick Santonastasso, and we are ending the week with the energy mindset guru, high performance expert guy, Tim Braheem, and I will tell you that I cannot wait for you to learn more about him, and what he shares is going to blow you away. The pearls of wisdom. Get your notebook ready. You need to be ready for this one. I will tell you, one of my favorite people in the world, somebody that I look up to as a mentor, and I cannot wait to get into that. First, we need to do the announcements. Number one, it's Spirit Week. We are ending the Spirit Week with Crazy Hair Day. And I have to tell you, I wish that I would have recorded my son, my 11-year-old son's reaction to my hair when I went downstairs. I was like going down. He goes, "Ah!" It's like he was like, "What happened?" It was like, it looked like I put my finger in a light socket. And so it's Crazy Hair Day today in Spirit Week in the Generosity Generation. I know many of you are doing these in your Facebook groups as well, having Spirit Week. And so it's been an awesome week, right? We had Bring Your Kid to Work Day on Monday with Nick Santonastasso. We had Favorite Color Day, which was really easy for me. I wore black. And then Logo Day was Wednesday. And then Thursday, we had Pajama Day, which was really appropriate because we had Tony and Jen, certified mornings coaches, and it was National Pajama Day. And today, we have Crazy Hair Day because it's Friday and nobody cares, right? It's Crazy Hair Day. So, Braheem, you got Crazy Hair Day going? You got to show Crazy Hair. Oh, yeah. Look who wins. You win. You win Spirit Week, Braheem. You are the winner of Spirit Week. We will send you a free copy of Tim Braheem's latest book. So here's the thing. I will tell you, this is awesome. So, all right, real quickly on the announcements. Grading 101 with Sandy Creston. Grading your database, the basics of grading. Sandy Creston kicked butt on Tuesday. The recording is in the units in the Generosity Generation group. Database on steroids. Deep dive on your database with Dan Balzer is next Friday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. You got to register. It's in the events group. It is no cost, no obligation. It is a complimentary class for the Generosity Generation. Time management check-in. His second class. He's going to check, did you do your work? On April 30th, it's in the event section as well. Two last things is you were to generate a list of your top 100 people, not necessarily referral partners, not necessarily, it was just who feeds you energy. Who are the 100 most positive people? We've been doing 25 each week. Many of you have been with us every single episode. Thank you. And you are on 100. If you are new to us, welcome to the Generosity Generation. Welcome to the family. We are here to help. And what we're doing on a weekly basis during quarantine times is identifying 25 people a week that feed your energy. They're positive, they're energetic, they're successful, they're mentors or could be mentors of you, and we're just identifying them. And then, and I will tell you, I know Angela Gibbons has already done 75, but the goal for this week was to have 25 VIP forms filled out, which means 25 conversations with one of those top 100, and you would have 25 VIP forms at least partially filled out by today. So if you have your 100/25 in the comments below, put 100/25. That means you've identified 100 positive people and that you have done 25 conversations at least with VIPs and filled out the VIP informational form so that you can start your ambassador book right here. this book, yes, soft tech, low tech, high income. How many of you would prefer low tech, high income over high tech, low income? Anybody? All right, 2 people. Yeah, right there. Me and Braheem. That's it. Everybody else wants to be high tech, low income. So it's all good. So here's the thing. Last 2 things. Nick, Santanastasso's program, go to mindofavictor.com. Mindofavictor.com. Max Maher, my 11-year-old, is part of the program. Todd Duncan has his program, hightrust.com/connect. Check it out. Great value. And last but not least is we always do pleasantly surprised. So in the comments below, what have you been pleasantly surprised about during the quarantine times? And you have to choose something different than what you chose before. So I've done like sample shaving cream things that got me so much more than I thought would. I've done things about my team. Well, I will tell you, yesterday, I was pleasantly surprised because I was running with my son and I actually wasn't getting out of breath. I could tell, I could feel the difference of being in better shape. And the best I'd ever done at this baseball field was hit one out on a tee, and only one, like out of 20 swings. Well, yesterday I hit 1 out of 10 swings out of the park, which is it's like 330 in center with a 20-foot fence. And what was interesting is I was showing Max later on in the workout, he was hitting, and I go, all right, let me just show you what I mean by being balanced and being powerful. And so he threw me 5 pitches. On the 5th pitch, I hit one over the center field fence, over the 20-foot high fence, and it hit a building that was beyond the fence. And it's probably the longest home run I've hit in 25 years. And I'm not even joking. So it's I was pleasantly surprised by that. I hit it and I yelled Yahtzee. And it's like, I don't even know where I hit it and I go Yahtzee. And it's like, I didn't even know where that came from. But I will tell you that we're talking, I rolled 5 sixes and had a Yahtzee, and that was pleasantly surprised. So in the comments below, I want you to put what you've been pleasantly surprised about during the quarantine times. So without further ado, I have to tell you, this guy is so amazing. He a mentor of mine for a long time. At one time, he was the CEO and loan originator at First Rate Financial. In 2004, he did 676 loans for $236 million, right? This is 2004. And here's the thing. He was inducted in 2004, along with 7 other mortgage originators, into the Mortgage Originator Magazine Hall of Fame. Only 8 people in the Hall of Fame. He was one of them. And then everybody's like, how did you do that success? So he became a speaker. But Tim Braheem doesn't just like be a speaker. What he did is he became one of the most dynamic public speakers in the mortgage and finance industry in the world, right? And then, let's not stop with that. We're going to create this program that helps people. He created loantoolbox.com, one of the greatest inventions ever, in my opinion, in the mortgage education industry. In fact, I was a coach for Tim Braheem within the Loan Toolbox environment. And as the head of faculty, he was responsible for educating and coaching in excess of 11,000 LOs through the company's online platform called loantoolbox.com. Now he is the founder, CEO, and head coach of High Performance Experts, where he coaches those who are performers and he helps them become high performers. Now, before I even bring him on, I want to read a poem that I think is appropriate for today. So I'm just going to read this. It doesn't take me more than a minute or 2. So this is a prayer for this time. May there be blessings that we are unable to digest right now. May they become apparent in the days and months ahead. And may we be forever positively changed from all that we are about to embark upon. May we learn to open our hearts more bravely, setting aside past grievances. May all borders of race, nationalism, and creed be washed away so as to clean our consciousness, leaving us to see clearly. May our doctors and nurses and paramedics and teachers be finally viewed as the real heroes, and may they be treated with the reverence of idols. May our planet and her ecosystem be healed from the horrible damage that has been unconsciously inflicted upon it. May we finally prioritize the need for unified healthcare so as to take care of our people all over the world. May we finally lay down the illusion of duality and separatism and wake up to the fact that we all are one living organism, understanding our impact on others. May we come to greater understand that media has a social responsibility that comes with the enormous influence they hold over our society, and that true journalism has no room for opinion, conjecture, and bias. May we be reminded of the simple things once again: time with family, importance of presence and laughter, music and how it makes us move our body, and the joy of walking in fresh air. May we learn to use social media for upliftment and education rather than positionality and separation. May the skies become more blue, the birds serenade more cheerfully, and the fish return to cleaner waters. May we learn to spend time in our inner landscape, more often listening, knowing, and seeing more clearly the truth of what is. May we feel more deeply, communicate more openly, love more fully, and receive more gracefully. May we remember that love is our nature and the most powerful force and highest energetic vibration that heals all dis-ease, aka disease. Finally, may we never forget this moment and its lessons and gifts. May they forever change us in the most beautiful ways. Authored, written by Mr. Tim Braheem. Tim Braheem. Wow. And that's our show for today. Have a great one, everybody. It's like, drop the mic. Are you kidding with that prayer? All right. So welcome to the Daily Dose of Positivity and Productivity, Mr. Tim Braheem.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me let my hair loose. It feels freeing.
It's awesome. That's awesome. So I'll tell you, before I even jumped in, I mean, like that poem is everything. I mean, that it's just like, and literally it took me like two and a half minutes to read it. And we will share that to people in the group. It's like, I don't know if anybody could have said it better. And, you know, what's funny is I before we came on with Tim, I was like, you know, I've got your data, right? Which is phenomenal, off the charts. And I have to tell you, who do I listen to the most? You know, somebody who hasn't had like an achievement in life and they became a coach will probably never be my coach. It's not that it's bad or good. It just is. But somebody who has an amazing achievement and goes into helping others achieve similar successes, those are the people that I hire as coach and mentors and things like that. And that is Tim Braheem. So I've got this logic part of it, but I really wanted to introduce people to your heart and soul, because that's you're not making a dent in the universe. You're like blowing a hole in the universe of this negativity. And I had to start with the poem, and thank you for giving me permission to do that.
You're welcome, and thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, and you wrote that like March 19th. You know, you literally, like, we had stay-at-home orders on March 13th, and within 6 days, you produced one of the, I think, truly one of the lasting written pieces of art that we're going to have from this time. And I truly believe that.
Thank you. A little bit of background to that is that I have, as you know, because this happened while we were working together, I have a deep connection with Italy. So I went and I lived there in 2006, 2007 for a year. And the connection is maintained. So I have lots of friends there, family, etc. So I was feeling the magnitude of this moment back in February. And could see it coming, you know, because on a daily basis, I'm communicating with people and it's getting worse and worse for them. And then I'm starting to see it happen in the state of Washington and all of that. And so I actually have been in quarantine now for, today is actually 6 weeks. I just kind of hunkered down even earlier. So yeah, there's a lot that's been coming up for me, a lot that I've been learning. Maybe we can unpack a little bit of that, and maybe even help some people cultivate some of the gifts that are available through this process today.
I love it. So what has this situation taught you personally, and what have you been coaching your clients regarding mining the learnings and the gifts from this global event?
It's interesting. I came up with a metaphor this week, and I created a video that I bumped up to Facebook the other night, and it's gotten some really nice responses. And I like to use metaphors. And the metaphor that I came up with is a football game, and right now is halftime. And we're in the locker room that is our house. And any good squad is going to take that intermission that they have in the game, and in our context, this is the game of life, right? So we've played the first half of life, and now it's halftime. And the question is, when we come out of the locker room, how are we going to play the second half of life? And what did we learn in the locker room when we were looking at the game film and evaluating how we played that first half? And this is a really amazingly beautiful moment that we have right now to go inward and to ask ourselves some pretty big questions. So one of the things that I've been encouraging my clients, and my clients happen to be predominantly in the mortgage industry, so they've been, they've had a whole different set of concerns associated with their life in addition to the virus. The business has been kind of crazy for them. So my great fear with them is that they're so consumed by the business that they're missing potential opportunities to reflect inwardly on their values, deepen their connection with themselves. Now, everybody always talks about deepening the connection with family, which is super important. But not to be missed is the deepening of connection with self, and what it is to allow yourself to feel whatever it is that you're feeling: fear, anger, longing, loneliness. I had a client earlier this week, Michael, say, "I just want my old life back." And there was such a sadness in his voice when he said it, and it was on Zoom, so I could really feel him.
Yeah.
And what I shared with him is, I said, that old life and the way that you were living it and the way that I was living mine was kind of a rinse, wash, repeat life. It was on autopilot, and we get up in the morning, we have all the same thoughts, we have our routine, we exhibit the same behaviors, and yesterday is just like the day before, and tomorrow is just like 2 days ago. And this is a really nice opportunity to say, okay, well, what am I feeling right now? Well, a lot of people are feeling lonely. I mean, I was telling my girlfriend the other night, she lives in Utah, so she and I haven't seen each other for 2 months, and she's a nurse, and an ER nurse, and she's had the coronavirus for 3.5 weeks now, and she's finally, thank goodness, she has, yeah, and she's been out of work for almost a month, and she's finally, thank God, feeling a little bit better. In fact, she went on a walk this morning, which made me really happy for her. And I told her, I said, honey, I don't like even the things like just having dinner with a friend. Like, we don't know when that's going to happen again. Like, to just sit across the table, say, hey, meet me at our favorite restaurant. Let's have a glass of wine. Let's have a meal. Like, we don't know when that's going to happen again. And what we do know is that we have something very, very important, which is the present moment, this moment right now. That's the only thing we have. We don't have our old life. We don't know what our future life is going to be. I've had to wipe my calendar clean of all travel plans. I'm in the middle of remodeling a home that I'm supposed to move into. That's put on hold. Like, there's literally nothing that I can plan, and I can't have what I used to have. So what do I have? I have right now. And in this moment right now, I have an opportunity to say to myself, ask some big questions about, like, what is important to me? And who, you led so beautifully with this, like, who are the people in my life that vibrate energetically at a level to where that's who I want to be spending more of my time with? For me personally, to answer your question directly, I've become acutely aware of my blind spot and my weakness to the controversy of social media. I've become acutely aware of my addiction, and I don't use that word lightly. And I would encourage everybody to really track what I'm saying here, because there's a big learning here for, I think, a lot of people. My addiction.
Great catch.
Thanks.
Great catch.
My addiction to negativity. Okay, and I think we all have that in us to varying degrees, and I think it's a very important thing to assess and be conscious of. It's like I will find myself almost looking for that drug hit of controversy or negativity or bad news. And I've been watching myself, like I'll be in the middle of working on a project, and the next thing you know, I'm wanting to go check Facebook, or I'm wanting to go check one of the news outlets, and I'll be like, whoa, slow it down for a minute. What's happening here? Like, instead of just reacting and jumping to it, asking the question, what's happening here now that we're at halftime? Oh, yeah, I for some crazy reason almost miss the controversy. And it's like, wow, like that's a tremendous learning. So I don't know if you've seen, and then I'll shut up in a second. Have you seen the new thing that John Krasinski, I think I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, is doing? Good news.
I've only seen bits and pieces, so no, I haven't, but I need to check it out.
It's so spectacular, man. It's the guy that used to be on The Office. He played Jim on The Office.
Now he's a superhero. He's Jack Ryan, right? Yeah.
And he hosts this like 15-minute good newscast once a week on YouTube.
Love it.
And every time I've watched it, I've cried, man. I mean, it's reminded me of like what's important. So the learnings that I'm taking from this are that I'm reconnecting much more deeply with friends. I've been reaching out to so many friends that I haven't been as close with over the last couple of years. I'm experiencing an abundance of gratitude for whoever created this medium here. I mean, think about if we were going through this and we didn't have the ability to see each other, how hard it would be. And I'm really taking a look at like what impact the outside world has on my energy, which, by the way, has everything to do with how we experience life. So at the end of the day, the most important, in my opinion, the most important thing for every one of us as human beings is our energy. Because our energy influences, number one, how we experience the world. Think about it for a minute. When you're in a bad mood, your experience of the world is bad. When you're in a good mood, your experience of the world is good. So our energy influences how we experience the world. Number two, it influences how people experience us. Okay. So your family, your friends, when you're good, they love being around you. They love being connected to you. They feel safe. When you're cranky or in a bad mood, they steer clear of you. And think about people that you know in your life that vibrate at a pretty low level. You don't really want to hang out with them. So number one, influences how you experience the world. Number two, influences how people experience you. Number three, and maybe more important than anything at this time, is that it has a dramatic and direct impact on your immune system. So when you're operating under the hormones of stress, fear, anger, anxiety, your immune system is lowered. When you're operating under the hormones of and the energy of love, compassion, empathy, your immune system is raised. And you can go do a little of your own independent research on that, those of you that are watching. That's fact. That's not conjecture.
That's right.
There's a lot of
very well researched
around that. Yeah. So when I look at that, I go, okay, well, there's only one person, only one that can govern my energy, and that's me. So that is my social responsibility to myself and to those that I love, is to take good care of my energy and how it's vibrating. And that involves like what I watch, what I read, how I start my day, what's my morning routine, how do I set myself up for success? You know, so we can dive into a whole myriad of things there, but I'll stop there. I mean,
so I took a page of notes, and we're 10 minutes in. I mean, so I'm going to try to unpack some of this, and I'm going to let you talk a lot more, right? I mean, it's like, don't interrupt wisdom, So it first and foremost is you talked about treating this like halftime. And I absolutely love that metaphor. I mean, I coach and I've coach football, basketball, football, and many other things. And what's interesting is that I had a routine for my basketball players and football players, and we'd go into the locker room, and it was like, I always said, what's the least important score in sports? What's the least important score of sports? Well, in the beginning, they didn't know the answer, right? But they caught on really fast. The least important score in sports is the halftime score. It's the halftime score. Nobody checks the halftime score to see what it's the final score. It's what happens at the end. And it's so interesting what you talk about is treat it like halftime. And you talked about, some of the mortgage professionals who were like really worried about the business. Well, that's like having a player in your halftime who is working on their dribbling. Like, no, this is the time to do the business. This is the time to think about what you're going to be doing. And the other thing that I see is so relevant here is during halftime, we would check the playbook. Like, what determines the final score? What determines the final score is execution. It's execution. Like whether you're down or up, if you execute in the second half, you're going to maximize the second half. And it's like, what are you executing? You're executing plays. You're executing strategies. So the beautiful thing is Tim, a lot of people came into this year with honestly no strategy other than business as usual and stay in the rut. And now we have this opportunity. In fact, we were forced into the opportunity that, listen, you got your butt kicked in the first part of this year, or you're ahead. But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter because it's halftime. And if you're ahead in the beginning and then you don't make adjustments at halftime or execute in the second half, you're going to get your butt kicked. So it's one of those where it's like, listen, what's your play? This is the opportunity for you to figure out what your play is. What is your strategy? What are you going to do moving forward? So I love that. And then, you were talking about this addiction to negativity, and I think it's one of those is, how do we take this addiction to negativity and make it more of an attraction to positivity? And then you gave the great reference of the good news with Jim Krakowski. So you've kind of already done that in your life, and if somebody was addicted to negativity, I say, what do you love about negativity? What brings you joy about something's bringing you joy, and there is something you love about it. So let's unpack that. And is there another place we can, get that? The best way to get rid of an addiction is to replace the addiction, right? So it's just like and then you talk about energy. And I did CR 101, which is Crisis Response 101. And this in success, I did an acronym for success. And the title was Mess or Success. What does success look like in the quarantine times? The E, Tim, was energy. And I truly believe, and agree or disagree with me here, and is that, the most precious asset, people think the most precious asset is relationships. The most precious asset is money. The most precious asset is time. I truly believe that the most precious asset is energy. It is energy. We have less energy than we do have time. And that we really need to manage and maximize our energy. I don't know.
Can I let me add to that if I may, because you and I are in complete.
Add, subtract, disagree, agree. I think that's what this is about, is a great discourse, right?
No, we're totally on the same page. So the thing is that, so then the question for everyone to ponder is, because for everybody it is a little bit different. What is it that raises my energy, and what are the things that I'm aware of that lower it? Like maybe taking a half hour this weekend and sitting with that, and then reaching out to the people that know you best, your kids, your spouse, your best friends, and asking this question is a question that I often coach my clients to go out and ask and report back to me at the next coaching session. Ask 5 people in your life that know you really well. What are the things that you go off and see me? What are the things that when I go off and do, I come back and I'm in a better mood, or I'm a better version of myself? You'll be very surprised as to some of the reflections you get. A lot of insightful responses. I mean, my kids have shared some things with me in the past when I've asked that question that have been really profound, that have been, oh, wow, you're right. I didn't realize it, but I do really feel uplifted when I engage in that. So For me,
Wait, repeat the question, because this is like, what is your biggest challenge right now? How do I make this the biggest win for you? What is the one thing such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier and or necessary? These are like super profound, clarifying questions. What you just said is a super profound, clarifying question to help us enjoy life more. So you said,
what are the things that you see me go do that when I come back from doing them, I'm happier and a better version of myself? What are the things that you see me go off and do that when I come back from doing them, I'm happier and a better version of myself? So
Barry, I'm going to ask you that right now. Can you mind if I implement? Is that okay? Real quick.
You're gonna ask
in
me?
the room. Yeah, no, I was
Go
going to
ahead.
ask my wife, right? I mean, it's like, so.
Are you enjoying the Daily Dose? Want to connect with thousands of other business owners that are winning the referral game while working from home right now? Head over to the Generosity Generation Facebook group. Connect with leaders, visionaries, and business owners from all over the world. Go to www.joingengen.com. That's www.joingengen.com.
So Sherry, what are Sherry? Can you hear me right now? So Sherry, what are, and I don't mean to put you on the spot like this, and if you can't answer right now, that's okay too. But what are the things that you see me go do that after I've done them and I come back, I am happier, more energetic. I seem to be more fulfilled.
Like right after you speak.
So right after I speak.
And right after
Speaking.
you like play baseball or
play baseball.
Sports. Like sports stuff.
Yeah, so sports,
Like
especially baseball, athletics. So baseball and playing baseball and practicing baseball with Max, and then speaking, which actually I have to be honest with you, Tim, that kind of surprises me. So the speaking part. So
you, like take a quiet weekend or a reading week or a writing weekend.
Yeah, writing weekend. So I'm writing and I'm writing again, and I wrote 7L, and then I wrote Miracle Morning for Real Estate Agents, and I wrote them in hotel rooms. So I would go away Friday night and I would come back Sunday, and literally I'm in the hotel room Friday, Saturday, Sunday writing. All I'm doing is one thing, and it's writing on that book. And then Sunday night I'm on fire, So those are the three things. So I thank you for bringing that question to the table, and I hope that everybody implements that today, tomorrow, or Sunday, because
the question becomes from there. The next question is, can you, and this is a direct question to yourself, is can you gift yourself more of that? Mm-hmm. So if you know that those are so like right now is a very precious time to be contemplating this, right? So like for me, like one of the things, so just a quick story, I won't go into great depth, but I always have loved to dance. But when I was a kid, I got made fun of and I was shamed for not being a good dancer. So I deprived myself of that experience for the large part of my adult life. And about 4 years ago, I was reminded of the fact that when I put on some music that is the kind of music that I like to dance to, and that I dance, that it is a very energetically uplifting experience for me. Like on the backside of that, for the next hour or so, I'm happy. I'm in a good mood. I'm out of my head. I'm in my body. My nervous system is relaxed. I'm vibrating higher. I'm sillier. I'm all of it. Wow. So as an example, one of the things that I've been doing on a consistent basis during this quarantine is 3-4 days a week after my meditation, after I journal on gratitude, then I put on music and I make my breakfast and I dance to a couple of songs in my kitchen. Now my day has started off a little bit differently than if I wake up and I'm immediately on the news and I'm seeing what the stock market's doing, and I'm on my email and worried about what, all the things I have to do today. I mean, just think about it for a second. Like, which day has the fighting chance of being a more fulfilling day? The one that starts off with nothing but positivity for, say, the first 90 to 120 minutes, or the one that starts off right out of the gate with busy mind, activated central nervous system, operating under the hormones of stress? Because they are two very different experiences. So when we come to the halftime thing, I want to loop back to something and give a quick example to your listeners here. So I had a client I was coaching this week, and I've been hearing this a lot lately too, of like, several of my clients have reflected to me some of the things that they really don't want to end when this ends. Okay. So one of my clients is loving his home office, loving working in a pair of shorts with no socks and shoes and a polo shirt on, and loving the inspiration all over the walls that he has in his home office. And he's like, I don't really want to go back and work in my old office, but I know I need to, because I'm a leader and I have people that I'm responsible for, and I need to press the flesh with them and give my energy to them, etc. Another client of mine said, I'm really, really grateful for the fact that I've had lunch every single day with my wife and 2 kids for a month. And his kids are 2 and 4 years old. And he goes, I know this is going to end soon. And when it does, it's going to be hard. And I said, wait a minute. Why does it need to end? Like, who made that rule up? That's a story that you're telling yourself that you're buying into right now. Why does it need to end? You have full authority based upon the career that you have to go into the office at 1 every day if you want to. Why not start off the first half of the day every day, or 3 days a week, working from home? Have lunch with your family from 12 to 1, and then go into the office and work till 6 o'clock or however late you need to work to get it all done. But in the case with the client that loves the home office, I said to him, like, no, bro, who says that you can't work from that home office Tuesday and Thursday? And use Zoom and other creative mechanisms to stay connected with your staff, and to really build your schedule in terms of your tasks and responsibilities around the 2 days that you're at home, the 3 days that you're in the office. You do certain things on those Tuesdays and Thursdays, and other things on the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday when you're in with your tribe in a physical form. So this is an example of halftime, right? Like, okay, what are we learning? What did we learn from the first half? What are we learning from being in our home that is locker room right now? And what are we going to do when we leave the locker room and go back out on the field when this is over? And how are we going to play the game a little bit differently? And hopefully in a way to where you're winning the game versus maybe not in the current state. So
you have to realize that the game is life. The game isn't business anymore. I think that we think of the halftime. The halftime is, you said it really well in the beginning, and it threw me off a little bit, is you said, the halftime of life. You didn't say the halftime of the year in your business sense. And by the way, in the second, hopefully July to December, you have your best second half ever in your business. What if you had the best second half of your life because you lived life at its fullest? I love the question, what don't you want to end? And I want everybody to answer that right now. I know we have a ton of people who are listening in and commenting and so on and so forth. What do you want not to end? Like, I have to tell you, I love Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday between 4 and 6 p.m. I'm practicing baseball with my son, and my wife is shagging balls in the outfield and helping out. It's just the 3 of us. And like, it's with nature. The weather has been terrific, which has certainly helped as well. But the thing is just like, it's just the 3 of us out there, and we all know our roles, and it's just like, it's like, what, I don't want that to end. Part of it's going to have to end, but we're going to have to figure out a way. Like, we got to do that, where it's just the 3 of us on a field, and we make it happen. What else do you not want to end? And I just absolutely love that. And I have to give a shout out to our 30 mornings teachers, Neil and Shalee on the West Coast. And then we have Tony and Jen on the East Coast, because Tim, we teach the ultimate morning ritual. We help people design their ultimate morning ritual using the basis of from the Miracle Morning for Real Estate Agents, the Savers methodology. And like for you, dancing would be the exercise. You know, the E in Savers is exercise. But I have to tell you, and you're exactly right, and I love the idea of music. We have a lot of people who have commented that they're going to start listening to music during breakfast. Well, here's what I hope for them is if dancing fulfills you, I hope that the music with your breakfast leads to some dancing afterwards. And the old adage of dance like nobody's watching, I mean, that's really happening right now. So you can dance like nobody's watching. And
Well,
Tim, you hit it on the head. You said dancing is freeing. Dancing, you use the word freeing. Like that is what a great word, freeing, so.
Well, when you say, it's so interesting that you kind of teed that up, which is that dance like nobody's watching. I had this experience where when this first started and I still had my housekeeper that would come a couple of times a week to clean, which now I'm just taking care of her and not having her come, but she came to the front door and I was dancing and I immediately stopped because I became self-conscious. And then I realized in that moment, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to go real deep with you all right now, but I really want you to think about this. That's not loving of me.
Mm-hmm.
To not do something that you love to do because you're worried about what somebody else would think is abandoning yourself. It's not loving towards you. And then I'll take it to one other step. And I follow a guy named Dr. Joe Dispenza very closely, and I've attended several of his retreats, and I'm a huge fan. And he said something at the last retreat that I was at. He said, stop judging other people. It's not loving of you. Now, here's why it's not loving of you, because if you are holding the energy of judgment towards another, criticism towards another, you are the one who's having the experience, the energetic experience of judgment. That's not loving. That's not self-love. Like self-love is doing something kind for another person, because then you get to experience who you really are, which is a loving human being that has a huge heart. So starting to like really play, I mean, these are other things that I've been playing with during this quarantine time. So let me add one other thing to that. I was asked a question 4 weeks ago, I guess it was. We've been doing with my coaching clients a happy hour every Saturday for 2 hours. And about 4 weeks ago when this first started, one of our clients put forth the question of like, what do I tell realtors right now? Like they're stressed and they don't know, like, because in certain parts of the country, you can't even sell real estate. It's like really come to a screeching halt. I know there's a lot of realtors on this call as well. So this applies to you as realtors. This applies to you. Think of this as it relates to your clients that you were showing property to, or they're potentially considering listing, or your past client database. And I sat with it for a second. I said, you know what? I said, I would be, if I were in your shoes right now as a mortgage professional, or if I were in your shoes right now as a realtor, I would have one objective as it relates to the way that I market and brand myself. I would steer clear of business, and I would brand myself as an ambassador of light. I would be the source of happiness. I would be putting out in my social media things that are positive. I would be picking up the phone and calling my clients and asking them how them and their family are doing. If you just disciplined yourself to calling 5 past clients right now, every day, or writing a personal handwritten note to 5 every day, or recording a video to 5 every day, asking them how they are and telling them that you're thinking about them, and that you hope that them and their family are healthy and well, and maybe even infusing a little bit of humor or something profound into their life, you won't need to worry about business when this is over. It'll flow, because you will have just made a lot of deep connections. But all this stuff about, forbearance, I mean, I know you got to communicate all that. I mean, I get it. I know that you got to communicate forbearance. I know that you got to communicate, what's happening in market conditions. I get it. Like maybe a little bit of that, but we're all one human race right now that are going through the same thing. We have an opportunity to impact people's lives by being a bearer of light, a bearer of caring energy right now. So go out there and find inspiration. Like one of the things, like, I don't know, I mean, I'm sure that at least somebody watching this has seen the Andrea Bocelli concert that he did on Easter morning, which I watched live when it happened. And it is breathtaking. It's the #1 viewed video in the history of YouTube. It's crazy how many people viewed that and how viral it got. Send that to people. Send the final song, Amazing Grace. I mean, if you can't watch that song if you don't get the chills watching that song, there's no heart in there. Right? I mean, there's such an opportunity right now to give. And when you give, the line gets really blurred as to who's doing the giving and who's doing the receiving. Yeah. Because, there's an old tradition in certain parts of India that when you give a gift to someone, it's like if I were to give you a gift, Michael, I would say, as I give it to you, I'd say, thank you, Michael. And the reason that I would thank you is because I'm thanking you for receiving from me. Because in you receiving from me, you're reminding me of who I really am. So there's this opportunity right now for you to give and infuse, kindness into people's lives. And in return, you'll be reminded of who you are. And business, I promise you, because this is how I conducted my business for a long time, it will just automatically happen. You don't need to be attached to some strategy. The only strategy right now is to open your heart and help people.
I mean, my eyes welled up like 5 times during when you were talking about that, because it was beautiful and it's true. And what's interesting is, Tim, we in the generosity generation, we name ambassadors, and we have ambassador of kindness, like Sean Woods is the ambassador of kindness. And we have an ambassador of time, which is Neil Smith, who teaches time management. Well, we have an ambassador of light, and it happens to be a mortgage professional in Arizona, and her name is Sandy Creston. And the ambassador of light, she actually won the Big Heart Award, which is the award that we give to the generosity generation member who best exemplifies the generosity generation. And so it just like it's one of those where it's like, yeah, you know what, care about their finances, but care about them even more. Now is the time that, yeah, you know what, be the expert and you got the competence thing right. But now is the time to show that you care, communicate that you care, right? The three C's of referability are character, competence, and communication. And now is the time to really exhibit, I truly believe all the time is the time to exhibit the elements of character and show that you truly care about them as people. And that's what's interesting, is the business will take care of itself. I mean, we have somebody who made calls last week, just so you know, it's so funny you said the number 5. Like no rehearsal, but the 25 a week, Tim, comes from 5 a day, right? So identify 5 people a day, do 5 VIP forms a day, which means having a conversation and asking them things like their favorite color, favorite football team, favorite drink, favorite restaurant, that kind of thing. And then the 5 handwritten notes as a follow-up to the VIP form and the conversation, right? And it's like, if somebody just did that, it's like, that's one of those things I would hope is, I don't want that to end when we're done out of the quarantine time. And I mean, my symbol for life, Braheem, I mean, it's like, it's a lighthouse, right? It's a lighthouse. And I am a lighthouse, standing strong and tall. I don't run up and down the beach going, use me, right? I stand strong and tall, and I let my light shine, and some use it and need to use it, and others don't, right? Some are attracted to the light and some are repelled, and it's all good. And I know that I'm making this me. I don't mean to do that, but when you make the impression you just made on me and talk to my heart and soul, I tend to just kind of share how I feel. So
let me ask you a quick question, Michael. So when you're out there playing baseball with your boy, which by the way, that's my next to my two children, that's my great love, is the game of baseball. It always has been. It's I'm a huge baseball fan, and it's been really a hard thing to not have in my life right now. But when you're out there and you're playing, and you hit that home run over the 330-foot, 20-foot high wall, the thing that came to mind for me is, might there be an opportunity for you to gift to yourself when this is over, joining a softball league?
Mm-hmm.
Playing the game that you so love playing one night a week for an hour and a half with a bunch of other guys, and maybe gals if it's co-ed, or maybe you and your wife do it together. But I could feel you light up when you were talking about it at the beginning of this. Then your wife reflected it to you when you asked her the question. So maybe one of the learnings from this is that, or another thing you could do, which I've done twice. Are you a Royals fan or a Cardinals fan? Who's your team?
Both. I love the Royals, the Cardinals, and now the Braves, because I live in Atlanta. So
so I had seen, I think, Kansas City mug, so that's why I was making the connection there. So the question another thing that you could do, I don't know if you ever thought this, but I've done it twice, is you could go to a fantasy camp for a week, which is unbelievable. Like if you went to Braves fantasy camp and you were coached by, Dale Murphy and Bob Horner and whoever, or if you went to, Royals camp and George Brett was there, who knows, but like, go play baseball for a week and gift that to the little boy inside you. That could be one of the great learnings in all of this for you.
So I'm just, first, I can say so much to that. First of all, thank you. And so 2 years ago, I got the gift from my wife. By the way, my wife and I met at a bar at a softball complex. And
cool.
I played semi-pro softball for 12 years at the highest levels. And it's actually almost illegal for me to play co-ed. You know what I mean? And so what's interesting is 2 years ago, I got the gift of fantasy camp, Royals fantasy camp, from my wife. I went. And then this last year I went, and my coaches were George Brett, John Wathan, and Bill Pacoda. And I hit 722 and, played pretty well, pitched really well, pitched 5 innings in a big win that we got. And our team went 8-0, and we were the fantasy champions of the camp. And you're right. You're right. I was so dang happy. I mean, it was just, if I was in better shape, it would have been an even better week. It was like, the one regret is, man, I need to get in better shape. And the problem is, you play 4 double headers in 4 days.
Oh, I know.
So it's like
those trainers get a lot of work.
Yeah. So thank you for noticing that and bringing that up, because that was, I mean, getting coached by George Brett, going 8-0 and hitting really well and playing really well. And it just was, it was very fulfilling and a lot of fun. And I hope they do it again next year. So
I'm so glad you get to have that experience, man.
So, and you were talking about, when you give a gift, say thank you. And I tell you, I use this analogy all the time, or the metaphor of the coin, and the coin is, you got giving. And in fact, what I do is I help people build their businesses and their life through the foundation of love, generosity, and appreciation. And, love is the superpower. Generosity is love in action. It's proactive. You control it. You control your gifting and your generosity. And we call in the spirit of generosity. We don't do lead generation and the generosity generation. We do generosity generation. We are calling in the spirit of generosity to see how we can give. Our action item from that is some piece of generosity, the action item from the call. And then the other part is appreciation, which my definition is appreciation is love in reaction. So things happen to us, life happens to us, referrals happen to us. And so we have this appreciation. And I have to tell you that the biggest thing that I teach is that, I think the world's full of a lot of great givers. Where a lot of them fall is sometimes being a great receiver, and it's like, giving and receiving are two sides of the same coin. So if you look at this coin, you've got generosity, which I use a gift as the logo for that. The other side of the coin is appreciation, and I use the praying hands as the symbol for that. And it's like, you've got generosity, giving, and appreciation, receiving. We need to be generous givers and appreciative receivers. And then what's interesting is that, but we're not done with the coin, right? On the coin is the heart symbol. On the edge, people say, how many sides to a coin? And people think that there's two sides to the coin. Well, there aren't. There are three sides to a coin. There are the top and the bottom, and then the edge. Well, the edge of the coin is love. And the thing that you need to note about love is that side never ends. That side is a circle, and that side never ends. It's a circle. So, you've got love on the edge, heart symbols. You've got gifting on generosity on one side. You got appreciation on the other. And it's all part of it. What we really need to teach people is not just be generous givers, but be appreciative receivers. And you hit on that more eloquently than I ever have. So I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for sharing that. And I love what you said about receiving. What I'm aware of is that many people have a difficult time receiving. And generally what's getting in the way of one's ability to receive is a feeling of unworthiness. So, and that's just because in many people's cases, it was, love was taken away from them at a young age, from parents, from teachers, from coaches, etc. So we get very guarded, but learning how to receive again can make life 5 times better. Because if you're not receiving, then you're missing half of life,
I'll tell you, it's like that goes into deserve, right? Mm-hmm. Deserve. Do you deserve receiving? Do you deserve gifts from others? It's that worthiness, right? And what's interesting is deserve. Let's break that word down. It's serve. It's of service. So if you want to deserve, serve. So serve, which goes back to generosity, right? So when you are generous and you start giving and giving and giving, maybe you don't receive that juice when you give, and that does happen sometimes. But it's like to deserve, serve. And that's the thing that I think has happened so often is that they've given in a past, and they've given and given and given and haven't received for worthiness or whatever it may be. So what happens when somebody gives and gives and gives and gives and never receives? They get exhausted. They're like, they quit giving, which is sad, because that's truly, I believe, a part of our identity, is that we're givers and that we're no longer giving. So they don't give. But what happens, and this feeds to your point, is what happens when a giver gives and gives and then receives, and then gives and then gives and then receives? What happens to that giver? You talked earlier about what rises energy and what lowers energy. What rises energy is the appreciation. It's the receiving. It's the receiving that rises the energy of the giver. It's just like, man, we got to talk more often, dude.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this was fantastic. And I will tell you that we don't necessarily have questions, but I'd love for people to put your questions below. And Tim, we'll invite him into the Generosity Generation if he's got time, and he can do that. No obligation there on that end. But the other thing too is, Tim, if somebody wanted to reach out or learn more about your programs, how would they do that? Where would they go?
Thank you. So the name of the company is Performance Experts, and the URL is www.performance- so don't forget the experts.com.
Performance-experts.com. Great.
That's right.
Awesome. And big shout out from the Generosity Generation for your girlfriend, the nurse in Utah. Best wishes and
thank
happy,
you very much.
Healthiness to her. That's for sure.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, and I know she will as well.
Fantastic. And any final words of wisdom, Tim, from your end, or from this conversation, or for the Generosity Generation in this time? Then I hate to do that necessarily right now, just because you've given us like an hour of words of wisdom that are just amazing. So
don't apologize for asking me. I'm flattered. What words of wisdom would I have? Just slow down. slow down and get curious.
Mm.
What's happening inside you?
Mm.
What is your soul wanting to say? Listen to it. There's a famous quote from a gentleman by the name of Ram Dass, who passed away about 6 months ago, that the quieter that we become, the more that we hear. Slow down, pause, listen, and learn from what it is that your soul really wants right now. That's it.
Yeah, like drop the mic, right? That just like, I'm going to do it for you. All right. So it's like, I mean, hello, right? I have to tell you, I'm really like, now I'm like, today was crazy hair day. And now I'm really worried. This is going to be like the most shared and watch partied daily dose we ever do. And it's going to be me and crazy hair. But what you've taught me is I'm not going to worry about it. It's freeing. It's
That's
freeing
right.
to do crazy hair day. And thank you for participating in crazy hair day. And thank you so much for being a guest on the
You're
Daily
welcome.
Dose. Thank you so much. And
Thank you for having me, and thanks to everybody for watching. I'm grateful.
Generosity Generation, this has been another episode of the Daily Dose. And I have to tell you that I believe that what we have seen in front of us today is true authenticity. True authenticity. We have seen someone that is on a journey, and we have had the opportunity to just kind of honestly share the space a little bit with somebody who's on this journey ahead of many of us, and in true authenticity, and like dancing is freeing. How beautiful is that? And the other question that was posed is, what don't you want to end when the quarantine time ends? And what are the things that your family sees you do that fulfills you, that gives you energy, that makes you happy? And we are in halftime. Take a moment to breathe. Don't be dribbling the basketball. Don't be, drawing your own play. Sit there and just breathe and take it in and listen to your soul, listen to your heart, and proceed accordingly. What rises your energy? What lowers your energy? And remember, you control your energy. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the Daily Dose of Positivity and Productivity, brought to you by referralspodcast.com and the Generosity Generation. And we will see you on Monday with the next episode of the Daily Dose. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.